Hello, today I'm going to cover writing argumentative essay, and before I do that I want to encourage those who are viewing to please subscribe, like and share the video so that it can help those people who are interested in academic writing. Argumentative essays are a vital component of academic writing designed to persuade readers to accept a particular stance on the issue. Here, it needs people to first of all identify the position on a particular issue, then write essay in support of their position. They require the writer to present a clear position, support it with compelling evidence, and engage with opposing viewpoints. In argumentative essay, the goal is not only to inform but also to convince the reader through logical reasoning and well-structured arguments. This type of essay is commonly used in academic setting as it helps students develop a critical thinking skills, the ability to analyze different perspectives, and the capacity to present ideas in a coherent manner. So, after knowing what is argumentative essay, I want just today to discuss the elements of argumentative essay. And I will start with the first element, which is taking a stance. The foundation of an argumentative essay is the stance the writer takes on a specific issue. Which position are you taking? This position must be clearly articulated in the thesis statement that you are writing in the introduction part, which is usually found at the end of the introduction paragraph. The thesis statement serves as the backbone of the essay by providing a clear direction for the argument that will follow. For example, in an essay arguing for the benefit of renewable energy, the thesis statement that might be written can be, so I'm going to give an example for a thesis statement that is talking about the benefit of renewable energy. So the thesis statement can be, this is just an example, transitioning to renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power is essential for reducing carbon emission, combating climate change, and ensuring a suitable future. This statement clearly indicates the writer's position and sets the stage for the argument to be presented. So when somebody is just reading and get that thesis statement in the introduction, can understand the position that the writer is taking. So the next element is presenting evidence. Now you understand the issue, you have taken the stand, which is the position, and you have made it clear in the thesis statement. So you need to present the evidence. An argumentative essay relies heavily on evidence to support the writer's stance, the position that the writer has taken. Evidence can take various forms, which include statistical data, expert opinion, case studies, historical examples, and logical reasoning. The key is to present evidence that is relevant, credible, and persuasive. Now let me focus on an example that I given as a thesis statement. In the context of an essay arguing for renewable energy, the writer must present the following types of evidence. So let me use the example that I've given to give an illustration. So let me start with the statistical data. The writer could cite down showing the reduction in carbon emission achieved by countries that have adopted renewable energy sources. For instance, according to International Renewable Energy (IRENA), countries like Germany and Denmark have significantly reduced their carbon footprint by increasing their reliance on wind and solar energy. These statistics provide concrete evidence that renewable energy is an effective tool in combating climate change. So that's an example of statistical data that can be used as an evidence. And please remember, you have to cite the source of where those statistics are coming from. The next example of evidence that can be used is expert opinions. An example is where the writer might include statements from the leading climate scientists and environmentalists who advocate for widespread adoption of renewable energy. Just like an example, somebody can say, Dr. So-and-so, who is a prominent climate scientist, has long argued that transitioning to clean energy is crucial for mitigating the impact of global warming. Quoting such experts add authority to the argument and help convince the reader on the validity of the position. because now this expert is somebody who is known, so there's an assumption that whatever they say, it's valid and can be replicated. The next type of evidence that I'm going to look at is the case studies, whereby the writer could present case studies of regions or communities that have successfully implemented renewable energy projects. For instance, somebody can say a certain city which has been oftenly cited of a community that has achieved 100% renewable energy, and uses as an example of why when people adopt renewable source of energy, the emission is reduced. So that one, somebody has to find the published case studies that is about the issue that you are given. And lastly, under the evidence, somebody can talk about historical example. The writer might refer to historical events that illustrate the long-term benefit of renewable energy. For example, the oil crisis of 1970s highlighted the vulnerabilities of relying on fossil fuels, leading to increased interest and alternative energy sources. By referencing historical event, the writer can show that the shift toward renewable energy is not just a contemporary issue, but has been a long-standing concern, and that one can act as a very good evidence to support your argument that you stated in a thesis statement. Now, we have covered two elements, which is taking the stance and the issue of supporting evidence. Now I want to talk about the third element, which is addressing the counter arguments. So, a crucial aspect of an argumentative essay is acknowledging and addressing opposing viewpoints. This demonstrates that the writer has considered multiple perspectives and is prepared to defend their position against criticism. Addressing counter-arguments strengthens the essay by showing that the writer's stand is well reasoned and not one-sided, because now you have identified also the limitations which will provide solution at the end. For example, I just want to talk about the thesis that I'm talking about, the renewable energy. In the renewable energy essay, the writer might address the common counter-argument that renewable energy is too expensive and unreliable. By doing so, you see now you're identifying the limitations of renewable source of energy. Therefore, to counter this, the writer could present evidence that the cost of renewable energy has been steadily decreasing, with solar and wind power now becoming competitive with or even cheaper than fossil fuels. Additionally, the writer could argue that advancements in the energy storage technology such as batteries have improved the reliability of renewable energy, making it viable alternative even in regions with inconsistent sunlight or wind. So, under addressing counter-argument, you need to remember that please provide those limitations, but remember you must provide solutions so that your position can stand. Therefore, by addressing these counter-arguments, the writer not only refutes potential objective but also reinforces the strengths of their own position. You need to identify the objections or the limitation of your position and provide a solution to those limitations so that your position can stand. The fourth element is about the logical organization and coherence. Now you have understood different parts of argumentative essay. So an argumentative essay must logically organize in a way that is coherent, with each paragraph contributing to the overall argument. And here now I'll talk about the structure of an essay, where typically the essay follows a standard structure. The first part is the introduction. The introduction sets the stage for the essay by providing background information on the issue and ending with a thesis statement. It should grab the reader's attention and clearly indicate the writer's stance. That is the thesis statement. It must be an eye-catching, and it's the one that now give the clear direction of what the essay will talk about. After introduction, now we come to the next part of the structure of argumentative essay, which is the body paragraphs. The body of the essay consists of several paragraphs, each focused on a specific point supporting the thesis. So here it's very essential to note that each paragraph in argumentative essay under the body must have a point, specific point that support that. So don't mix points into one paragraph. When you're talking about one point, please exhaust that point before you move to the next one. For example, in the renewable energy essay, one paragraph might focus on the environmental benefit of solar power, while another could discuss the economic advantages of wind power. The writer should ensure that each paragraph flows logically from one to the next, with the transitions that help the reader follow the argument. So after you have covered the introduction, you have covered body paragraphs, now you come to the next part, which is counter argument and rebuttals. After presenting the main argument, the writer should address counter arguments in a separate section or integrated in the body paragraph. This section should include rebuttals, where the writer refutes the opposing viewpoints with evidence and reasoning. So here you need to acknowledge the limitations or counter arguments, but you need to rebut them so that you provide a solution to show that although we have limitations, but they can be managed in this manner so that your position can stand. After you have completed that, now you move to conclusion, which is the last part of this essay. And it's good to reinforce or reinstate the thesis statement first in the conclusion and talk about the main points that you have covered in the body. So under conclusion, don't start a new point. Don't talk about something that you have not covered in the body. So from there, I think you have understood the structure of argumentative essay. And now maybe we can look at persuasion techniques. In addition to logical reasoning and evidence, persuasive technique can enhance the effectiveness of argumentative essay. So these are just the techniques that you must have while writing it. You need to appeal to emotions, which is called the pathos. While an argumentative essay primarily relies on logic and evidence, appealing to readers' emotion can also be effective. For instance, the writer might describe the negative effect of climate change on vulnerable communities, such as in Greece natural disaster, to evoke a sense of urgency and moral responsibility. However, it's essential to balance emotional appeals with factual evidence to avoid appearing manipulative. So you need to be keen on there. The next way or tactics of persuasion is ethical appeal, which we call ethos. Here, establishing credible is crucial in persuading the reader. We need credibility. The writer can build ethos by demonstrating a thorough understanding of the topic, citing reputable sources, and presenting argument in a fair and respectful manner. For example, acknowledging the potential drawbacks of renewable energy, such as initial investment cost, which is high, while arguing that long-term benefit outweigh these challenges, show the writer has considered the issue holistically. So you need to acknowledge the negativity, but balance with the benefit under cost-benefit analysis to make your position. The next part or the next technique that can be used to persuade the reader is what we call appeal to logic or logos. This is the most critical element of an argumentative essay, where the writer must present a clear, logical argument supported by evidence. For example, the writer could use cost-benefit analysis to show that investing in renewable energy now will save money in the long run, despite the cost being high at the beginning. So here, you need to show some logic, which can be done through calculation or evidence to support the argument, to show that indeed your position is beneficial than another position which you covered under the limitation, so that people can understand that the benefit are more as compared to the disadvantages of, maybe if we are talking about renewable source energy, the implementation of that. Therefore, I think for today's class that will be an end, where I've just been given a small understanding of writing argumentative essay. I started by describing what it is. I talked about elements of argumentative essay. I covered the structure, which starts from the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. and I also talked about the persuasive techniques that can be used to ensure that your argumentative essay is of high quality. So thank you very much.